Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota podcast. My name is Mpho. I've got Tim with me, Tim Delace. Tim, how are you doing?
Considering it's 4 day series week, I'm in a good mood. Series cricket,
Yes,
the proper
so
cricket begins this week.
Yes, we're a South African cricket podcast and we talk all things South African cricket. We've just gone through the end of our domestic T20 part of our season, and now we enter into, as Tim says, the 4 day series. So we're going to be talking about all of that. But before then, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please follow us on X at Full Quota Pod. Please also buy us a coffee. The Buy Me Coffee link is in the bio of this video, as well as on the strap line below. Sorry, my computer is now playing games and I've pretty much frozen. But anyway, we are going ahead with that. And so, so it's been a very great week in the South African T20 space. T20 challenge came through the finals. Obviously, last week in the last recording, we spoke about the Div 2 champions, which were the ACDC Tuskers of KZN Inland in Maritzburg. They took the trophy back, stealing it away from log leaders, the Eastern Storm. And so this time, we had Division 1, and last week was all Division 1 CSA T20 challenge. It was a IPL SA20 style finals week, with not having two separate semifinals, but you're having a qualifier, eliminator, and a qualifier. Tim, we didn't speak about that, but what do you think of the new format in the finals week?
I like the new format. It's certainly better than it was. I suppose the only chink that I would make, and it's a little bit, I'm not sure it would work because of the amount of teams, but the only chink that I would make potentially is if you finish top of the log, you go straight to the final. You don't play any qualifier or eliminator of any kind. You just go straight through to the final. So the team that plays that comes fifth does actually get a chance of making it through. That's the only one I would make. But it's much better than it was. I prefer what we have. This is good.
Yeah, look, I'll agree with you on that. I think, the team that finishes fifth should be it. The team that finishes first should go to the finals. And I think there should be just two games. But obviously, from a TV perspective, you want to have at least minimum. We've added. So normally it'd be 3 games. Now we've added an extra game, which is the qualifier, the eliminator, and the qualifier, and then the final. Right? Normally it'd be semi-final. So that's the reason why they've added it. I'd like the idea of the number 1 going to the finals, but the only problem is I don't want number 5 to come in. Then it just means in our situation, only one team actually can't make it through. And number 5, who has played horribly throughout the season, gets a shot at the finals. If we're 8-team division, we are an 8-team division actually, but even then, I'm not happy with that.
It would need more teams, as I said. It would need more teams in the competition. I agree. I think fifth. I like that idea that I put it across, but I just think with the amount of teams, it doesn't quite work because it gives an advantage to somebody, as you say, who had a terrible tournament to go through to the final, which is a little bit unfair.
Okay, cool. So now we don't have slides today because my laptop is acting up, and so we're going to talk you through what happened last week. So first game of last week was the top team, which is the Lions. They took on the Titans on Tuesday night in the first qualifier. That was 1 and 2. The winner automatically went to the final. and so goes into the final. And so the Lions, putting the Titans into bat first at the Wanderers, bowled the Titans out for 115, and then the Lions managed to get the total with 7 wickets remaining. They won by 7 wickets. Reza Hendricks scoring 61 of 43. Rassie van der Dussen 40 not out of 37. Ngaba Peter 4 for 15 in 3.2 overs. And then Gwedama Parker 3 for 11. He was really good. But the other bowler in that game who was really good was Lutu Supamne, got the wicket of Heinrich Klaasen. And that semi-final was interesting, and the quarter qualifier was interesting. I want to talk about a couple of things, Tim. The Dan Khalim becoming a top order batter, that was a interesting thing to see the Titans still persisting within him becoming the pace bowler. I think it's one of the reasons why they lost the final. Was largely because the bowling attack for the Titans wasn't that great and didn't look that strong. But that batting lineup had a lot of big names, but the Lions just had them in all sorts. And it was interesting to see, because I kept on saying to people, no, Heinrich Klaasen's not out yet. You can't write this team off until then. But he was losing partners. Then Klaasen went out, and you got Andile Petlukwa, who isn't on form. And it looked like it was a very bad day at the office for the Titans. What did you make of that qualifier?
Yeah, like it was men versus boys, really. Because I wanted a different winner for this tournament. I wanted somebody who hadn't won. I didn't want a back-to-back winners going through. So obviously I was going for the Titans in that particular fixture, but the Lions were just too strong in all facets. And I think tactically, if you look at that game as well as the final, I think Titans got a lot wrong in terms of what they came up with. Because as you say, on paper, that game should be a lot closer. On paper, that is an exciting, particularly the top 6. It's a very, very exciting top 6 with explosive power in there. Khalim's a bowler for me. He's a bowler who can chip in a bit. I don't mind him trying it out, but I persisting with it, I don't think really worked. It didn't really work, that pinch hitter role. But it was just a different class. The Lions were a different class in that particular game. There's no getting away from that, really.
Yeah, you get a sense that the Lions are building up to this, and as they got some of their players back from the limited overs tours that the Proteas had, you just added more firepower. Rassie coming in, Reza coming in, and yeah, there was Zubair Hamza somehow made it at the top of the order, but Reza and Rassie are just a class amongst their own, and if you give them a low target to chase at the Wanderers, they always will come through with a plum. And Connor Esterhuizen actually did well this week. But anyway, then the second game, Tim, that meant Western Province were playing the Northwest Dragons in Potchefstroom the day after, and Western Province beating Northwest by 41 runs. They set a target of 166 for 5, where George Linder scored 49 out of 23. Vian Libba of the Northwest scored 46 of 20, but Northwest was bowled out for 125. Carl Simmons took 3 for 14, and George Linder taking 3 for 13 in some sort of spinning a web around the Northwest Dragons. Disappointing end to the season for the Dragons, especially losing at home in a must-win game. But experience of George Linder and Carl Simmons coming through there for Western Province, Tim.
Yes, indeed. They were a surprise for me. I said at the beginning of the tournament that the province didn't have enough explosive power to make it through to the qualifiers. So they surprised me. I think in a general sense, they could be reasonably pleased with their efforts. Northwest, we've been saying this now for a good couple of seasons, and it's been that case across 2 different coaches as well. They get themselves in these winning positions, and they have these almighty collapses. They were 80 for 4 at the halfway mark. 80 for 4. Viandaba had just got out, very sillily, played beautifully, but then he decided to run himself out. which was the turning point. But at least if you're looking at that, they should have got across the line. Province were not at their best in this particular fixture. And Northwest, the way they went about it, the way they panicked. As soon as Van Libber got out, they panicked. It was all panic stations. It was wild shots. It wasn't a good rotational strike. It wasn't looking for gaps. They were trying to hit everything out the ground. And as soon as you gave Province a sniff with their spin twins, Linda and Simmons, it was over very, very quickly. But this is a trend that Northwest have had across formats, not just in this format, across formats. It's something they need to work on, winning positions and throwing them away.
Look, and it's something that has been plagued them for a couple of seasons. But I thought with the likes of Mark Janssen and Janeman Milan adding a little bit of experience into the side, that they might be a little bit of a different side. But sadly, in the big moments, even Marco Janssen is struggling. He got, was it 9.5 economy rate. It was the worst bowler of the Dragons in that game, and it gets me wondering. In the big spots, that man just suffers and dies. Well, not dies, but he shies away. And yeah, I thought they could do it and they could, get to the final and everything else. But yeah. Okay, then the next match was the second qualifier. And ladies and gentlemen, these games are just to add an extra game to the roster to get more money, which I'm happy with from a finals perspective. So this is qualifier 2 at Centurion. Western Province stayed in Gauteng for a very long time, just traveling around the different parts of the Highveld. But the Titans at home winning that by 19 runs. They scored 182 for 7. With Province getting 163 for 6 in their 20 overs. Andile Petluguaya scoring 39, not out of 16. That really helped them get to the 182. Eddie Moore scoring 48 of 31 in vain. Joe Kutsia taking 2 for 14. Tim, I'm seeing all these Protea bowlers, yet there's a team in Bangladesh that's struggling to figure out what their best fast bowler is. But yeah, Mihlali Mpongwana, Buren Hendricks taking 2 wickets each in that bowling innings from Western Province. Lots of 20s there. Lots of starts from the Titans team. 24 for Pretorius, 29 for Munsami, 28 for Khalim. Don Ferreira, 19 of 13. Heinrich Klaassen hasn't had the greatest of times, Tim, in this tournament. He scored 13 runs there. And Oliver Whitehead scored 40 runs or 40, but I don't think Western Province would have relied on him a lot. But he had a really nice catch in that game. And yeah, somehow the Titans make it through in this game. How did you see this game going, Tim? Disappointing again for Western Province, but the Titans somehow showed us that they've got strength in numbers.
Yeah. Province actually had this game for large parts. They had this game right until Petluguaya came in. Petluguaya, two things were big. Petluguaya's 39 of 16 was game changing. It took the total from 150 odd to 180 plus, which was always going to be difficult. And then the power play. The power play from Province. Again, some crazy cricket. Silly runouts of Bird and Smith. When calm heads were needed. It didn't need to be scoring the 10s and over in that opening power play. They were 29 for 3. 29 for 3. It was pretty much curtains from then onwards. But what I liked, even though I knew that the fixture was over, Province didn't just give up. They didn't just lie down. And they got relatively close, despite having a really poor power play with the bat. So yeah, it was those particular moments. For large parts, it could have gone either way. But at the important moments, the Titans won them. They won the important moments, which is good from their point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I kind of saw it. I just kind of felt like Western Province was in that game, you just was like, oh, guys, consistency would have gotten them a little bit further down the line. And then that set up the final. The Titans and the Lions, the teams who played qualifier 1, playing the final on Sunday at the Wanderers. There was a sizable crowd, which was really nice for the T20 Challenge final, and it was good. I really enjoyed it. And it was a great day out. But the Titans being put into bat again in a final, then getting bowled out for 119, and the Titans actually won the toss and batted first. And Joe Kutsia, 20 of 19, Andy Lepetlukwai, 18 of 19, as Luto Sipamna, 4 for 12, Bjorn Fortuin coming through with 2 for 10 in that game to effectively pretty much put the Titans' last rights in that game. It wasn't pretty up front. They were in all sorts of trouble. They were 4 for 34 just after the power play, and they just kept on losing wickets at regular intervals as the Lions were just not letting them go. Every bowler, bar Ngaba Peter, took a wicket, and yeah, it was just insane to see that in the final, a team like the Titans could capitulate like that. And then it was easy pickings for the Lions in return. Zubair Hamza scoring 20 runs, Rassi van der Dussen 44 of 31, Connor Esterhuizen, the wicketkeeper, 48 of 36. And this Lions side ending up winning. From a bowling perspective, Dan Khalim took a wicket, Joe Kutsia took a wicket for the Titans. A low scoring affair, Tim, but this Lions side doing exactly what they did on Monday. Just, men versus boys, as you say. And this time was a different group. It wasn't the youngsters, Peter and Gwena. It was Bjorn and Luto, who were the elder statesmen who took them home.
Yeah, look, the Lions are a tight unit. The Lions know what to do. They've got a lot of experience of winning this trophy, not just the last 2 years. They know exactly what each job is and where they need to be at important moments of the match. Whereas the Titans have a very good team on paper, but they don't actually know what their individual roles are. That's the way it looks to me. It looks like a team that don't actually know what each individual player needs to do when they go out and bat or bowl. It just seems we will win it if Klaasen comes off. We will win it if Rula van der Merwe has a fantastic spell. We'll win it if Donovan comes off. But we won't win it because we play as well as a team. Because currently, at the moment, they don't play well as a team. They play as an individual performance-based team, which is a worry for them.
Yes, and the Lions, rightfully so, the team with the most amount of stars, a lot of the Proteas ending up at the top. They really do struggle at the beginning, losing their first 2 games, but managing to come through and leading the log and also winning this and getting their first silverware of the year. Back-to-back T20 champions, and then now they go into the 4-day series where they are the current defending champions of that as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Russell Domingo is building, and you can see that they now starting to get a call. They're getting some exciting youngsters coming in. Gwena Mapaka, Ngabayomzi Peter, Junaid Dawood took a lot of wickets for them as well throughout the season. He didn't play in the final, but in the final week, but it was something that he helped them get to the top of the order. So good win for the men in Johannesburg, and now we look to the 4-day series. But before we do that, Tim, I'm just going to read off a list of the top batters in the series. We put it up on our Twitter page, our X page earlier on today. Sadly, I don't have I made a pretty thingy back. What is it? Overlay. And My laptop does not want to allow me, but we can still do this. You can assume this is an audio podcast, even though you're seeing our faces. So let's do this. The best batters in the CSA T20 challenge by runs: Eddie Moore, 328 runs, or at an average of 65 and a strike rate of 141. Rivaldo Moonsami, 281 runs at an average of 35 and a strike rate of 151. Donovan Ferreira, 276 runs, an average of 46 at a strike rate of 182. 0.78. Vian Libba of the Northwest Dragons, 262 runs at an average of 37 with a strike rate of 156. Yanaman Malan, another Northwest Dragon there, 249 runs at an average of 41, strike rate of 124.5. Luandre Pretorius, you remember him, SA under 19 Titans opening batter, 235 runs at an average of 26 and a strike rate of 158.78. And Jacques Snyman of the Knights, 203 runs at 29, strike rate of 153.78. Lots of Proteas here, which is good to see, or former Proteas. And people who are knocking on the door like Moonsami, Eddie Moore, and Luandre Pretorius. Tim, what do you make of this list of batters, and who should get an opportunity next up when Rob puts up a team specifically for the what is it? For the next one? I think it's the India series.
Yeah, I think that the big ones there for me are Luandre and Mutsami. I think those are the ones that stand out for me.
Not Eddie Moore.
I need to. Well, Eddie Moore was a surprise in this format. Was a big surprise. I'm just not sure. Again, I could be wrong because I was wrong about him about his game in this format. I'm just not sure that he has the game for the next step up.
Okay.
He had a fantastic tournament, leading run scorer. I can't take it away from him. If I'm thinking of South Africa, I'm thinking of higher honours. I'm looking at the people I mentioned. I think the Wonder and Munsami. I think they took that next step up for me. I still need to see more from Don. Good tournament, but I need to see more from him in games that matter. In games that matter. Look, where was he against the Lions? Games that matter, he didn't step up. He had a good tournament, but I need to see him do well in games that matter before I bring him back to the South African setup. The other two, I'm a big. I think their ceilings are very, very high. And you don't have to play Munsami as a keeper. You can play him as a batter.
You do. Yeah, look, I think he's one who needs to. Munsami is definitely one who needs an opportunity, and so to Luandre Pretorius. And I wouldn't mind if you wanted to expose him to the India series and see what he can do at the top of the order. I don't think that spot is settled with Rix and Riza. So it'll be interesting to see if we can give him a chance. And yeah, Rivaldo should be there. And let's see how it works. Okay, let's move to the bowling. Top wicket takers, 13 wickets. Junaid Dawood of the Lions at an average of 10 and an economy rate of 7.47. Kwena Mapaka, 13 wickets at an average of 12 and an economy rate of 6.03. Mihlali Mpongwana, 12 wickets at an average of 14, economy rate of 8.17. Andile Simelani playing for the Dolphins, 12 wickets at 14.25 and the economy rate of 9.5. Malusi Siboto, he joined the Knights this year, 12 wickets at 17.16 and economy rate of 8.95. Dan Khalim, 12 wickets at 19.83, economy rate of 7.06. Kerwin Mungru, an average of 20.27, economy of 8.25. And Wesley Beja, a youngster from Western Province, 10 wickets at an average of 25.9, economy rate of 8.63. I like Wesley being in that list. I really like Simelani being in that list, Mpongwana, Mapaka, and Dawood being on that list. It's really, really great to see that yeah, the youngsters are stepping up, especially a guy like Gwena, especially a guy like Andile Simelani, who we believe can go into the senior national setup. And then obviously Wesley Becher being there, raw, getting into the stride as a domestic bowler at this level is really good to see him coming through. Dan Khalim's just re-emergence as a T20 bowler is good things to see. And yeah, those 12 wickets are no joke, and he's putting his hand up. I think in terms of if everyone's looking for a bowling all rounder, he's putting his hand up there. But what did you make of this list? Remember, Gerald Coetzee, Marco Jansen also bowled in this series. Bear Swanepoel played in this series. So these names are standing up against the best players in the country. So what did you make of it, Tim?
And the reason I think they're standing up is because of their varieties, their changes in pace, the varieties in what they have to offer. They're not just putting the ball on a spot and saying, let's see what the pitch does. See the pitch. They're actually making the batsman think. If you look at when they were bowling, I think Mkwana and Simelani, I think those boys, they took that next step up. They said, you know what, we can play this format as well. We can play. We can transfer our skills across the formats, and if there's a spot available, we are here to be picked. We are here to be considered. Yes. So I'm a big fan of both of them, and I think that they took that next step up, which is a good, huge plus, because I think we do need variety in our attack in this format. I think we do need somebody that offers something different. And both of these individuals offer something different.
Yes, and the bowling all-rounder spot has been one that everyone's been trying to, work out for South Africa. In the absence of Marco Jansen, Marco has been carrying us throughout these past couple of years. Wiaan Mulder's now taken over the role since Marco has taken a break or been given a break or been told to rest, even though he's playing in domestic cricket. But yeah, Mihlali's putting up his hand. Andile's putting up his hand. Dan Khalim, I think you'd have to try the two we've just named before you give Dan an opportunity, but these guys can bat too. And that's something that we can't scoff at. And I think if we are looking to replace a Wiaan Mulder and see if someone gives you something different, these are the guys that you need to be looking at. Obviously, Gwena will probably be playing against India, and Junaid Dawood's had a great season for the Lions in T20 while Ngaba Peter was away. Ngaba Peter came back, and we never saw him again, but he did his job. And it's not a bad thing in terms of squad depth and the like. But yeah, good to see those guys, and congratulations to those. Tim, one final thing I think on the CSA T20 challenge, who was your player of the season?
I'm going to leave it open, leave a nice open goal for you if you want to go that way. So I'm going to go for somebody different. I'm not going to go for the champion, a player for the champion team.
Why not?
I'm going to go because I'm leaving it open for you.
Okay.
You are the Lions fan. You are the Lions boy. It's your hometown. So I'm going to go slightly differently.
Okay.
You're probably not going to give it to him because they didn't go on to win it. They didn't even make the final. But in terms of showing a different skill, showing a different arsenal, showing something different. Exactly. I'm going to say Eddie Moore.
But you're picking a guy who you still don't want to see in the Proteas, but he's your player of the CSA T20 challenge.
Because CSA T20 challenge is different to Proteas. If he's doing it for, let me put it this way, if he does it for SA20, then absolutely. This is a slightly different competition. It's less competitive. The standard is not as high. So I would need to see more. I would need to see more of this ability. Even if he plays in a similar vein in the One Day Cup, for example. But in terms of his emergence for me as a T20 cricketer, this was extremely impressive, because early on in the season, Province was struggling. And they were struggling to find explosive batters. They don't have explosive batters in their team. They don't really have them. John Bird did not have a great tournament. So he stood up for them. He kept them in games. He won them games early on in the tournament. He got them to play that eliminator. He got them all the way to the eliminator, couldn't quite get them across the line. His performance was absolutely exceptional in this tournament. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I just think high honours is a bit of a stretch at the moment, but hugely impressive tournament.
Oh yeah, look, Eddie Moore did do that, and he led the run scoring charts. My player of the tournament is Gwena Mapaka. I think he was also instrumental with the Lions. He wasn't like a youngster who the Lions needed to give him one wicket or whatever it is. He led the Lions in wicket taking with a better economy rate than Junaid Dawood. He took that new ball. He led that bowling lineup really well, and you can see he's one of the main reasons this team made it there, over and above the batting. The batting was spread across everyone else, and nobody actually put up their hand. They had days, and seemingly they didn't have a day when nobody came together. But Gwena Mapaka, well done at 19, 17 as you are. Really my player of the tournament. His stock keeps on rising, and I can't wait to see what he has in store for us going forward, because this kid as a left armer, he's got it. He's got it all. And so, that brings us to the end of the CSA T20 challenge. It's going to be quite interesting to see how teams bounce back, especially the Dolphins and the Warriors, who are at the bottom of the log, and the Knights as well, just to see how they're going to do. We now move on to the 4-day series, your favorite one, Tim. And just to give a sense, the 4-day series starts this week with 3 matches. The Dolphins take on Western Province on Wednesday at 9 a.m. in Durban. There's going to be bad light issues there, but hopefully we'll get a game out of there. On Thursday, we've got Gold Rush Boerland taking on the Knights at 10 a.m. In Paarl. And then on Thursday as well in Gqeberha, the Warriors, the Dufferbet Warriors, are taking on the Northwest Dragons at 10 a.m. in Gqeberha. It's Division 1. And then in Division 2, just to round off the fixtures, on Thursday you've got the Inyati, the Eastern Cape Inyati in East London, playing the 6-gun Grill Garden Route Badgers. And then in the second match of the Division 2 4-day series, you've got the Limpopo Impalas playing the Eastern Storm in Polokwane. Also, game starts at 10. The next round of games will be next week, and we'll cover them in next week's show. Tim, just as a preview, will the Lions be unseated this year in the 4-day series, Division 1, and by who?
They have to be. They just have to. It's imperative that they are beaten. We can't have a Manchester City of South African cricket. That must end now. That must end.
Hey, look.
I'm gonna go slightly differently.
Okay.
And I don't know how many games he's gonna get, because he has said about his workload. So let's see. I'm gonna go Warriors. Slightly different.
Okay.
I just think that with that top 6, I think they've got a very exciting top 6. I think Jean du Plessis will have a good tournament. I hope Anric Nokia plays. Now, I know at the moment his priority is T20 cricket, but I hope he plays some of this, because if he doesn't play some of this, then my prediction is going to look rather silly. But if he plays some games, I'm gonna go Warriors.
But they have bare Swanepoel, so they should be able to,
exactly
get through, right?
Yeah.
And that's that thing.
I think they're gonna have a good tournament. I'm gonna say that they're gonna just about sneak it over the line. First one to put on John Duplessis are going to be the players of the tournament.
Okay. If you say so, Warriors. I wasn't expecting the Warriors from you, but it makes sense. Makes sense. I think for me, it just depends on Proteas availability, right? I don't think the Lions can get unseated. I think they have a good team even without the Proteas to be able to push through, right? And Rassie and Riza and Temba should be available. Oh, Temba's still injured, but he should still be available for the rounds coming up until they have to play Pakistan. But you still have Russ and Reza still there. You've got a young core of bowlers. Gweda Mapaka is going to be interesting to see how he comes through in 4-day cricket. I'm looking at two teams. The Dolphins. Dolphins have always been good in this format. They've always been competitive in this format, especially at home. They do a really great job of holding teams. Obviously without Cash, but they've still have Prendel and Subrian, who's really, really good. Ogushetele should be on form. Yes, T20 cricket didn't come through for them, but I do think in this format they do shine. Their top six is a really strong top six with the Jason Smith, who's now got Proteas confidence. And so I look at that team as a potential winner. You could say the Titans, but the thing for me with the Titans is if Gerald Coetzee is going to bowl, then maybe we could see something from the Titans. But the Titans fundamentally don't have the pace to compete in this and take lots and lots of wickets. They've got the batting; they'll always have the batting. But from that bowling lineup situation, yes, you're reliant on Ruloff. Remember the seasons they were reliant on Simon Harmer and doing that. But I don't see Ruloff taking a lot of wickets after what I've seen in the T20 challenge. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how they go. But from a pace perspective, if you're rolling out Corbin Bosch, Dan Khalib, and Junior Dala, I'm not sure. The other question is obviously, is Lungingiti going to be playing? They need him to be playing. Andile's there, still there. Not sure about it. It's just the Titans are great at batting, but all of a sudden in the last couple of years, they've just lost the pace. They lost bowlers. They don't know what's going on there. And in the series, you need a fast bowler, and they don't have.
Yeah. If they can find a way, get Merrick Brett in that 11. Merrick Brett is quick enough.
Yes, I remember him from last year.
He isn't consistent enough just yet, but he is quick enough. He will make batsmen think twice about hooking him. He is definitely quick enough.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. I look at Northwest. I think Northwest could be very sneakily good this year in 4-day cricket. Largely, if the question for me is, the Proteas are going to be playing in parallel with this season, with this 4-day series, right? Is Marco Jansen going to be playing for the Proteas? He's not. If he is, and he's playing for the Dragons, then there's something fundamentally happened in the Proteas dressing room over the last year that Marco Jansen's all of a sudden being stood down. But anyway, if Marco Jansen is playing, Gideon Peters is playing, Miguel Patoris is playing, that's a very good bowling lineup for a domestic level game at 4-day series level. Very, very good.
Seriously good.
You know, the only thing obviously is the spinner, how they're going to do that, Caleb Seleka, or they're going to have to go look somewhere else. But for me, Northwest, I'm looking there, I'm like, yeah, your bowling can do it. Your batters can do it too. And then that's the question for me with the Dragons is that Yanaman Malan, you bought him to play all three formats. He did well in the T20. You can see there was a little bit of hesitation, and there's a lot of things that are happening there. Can Yanaman Malan give us the Yanaman Malan from 2021, who was scoring runs, was at number 4, doing the things, making us question as to whether he's a test batter? Mikhail Prince, good batter. And then you start looking at the Hadamans and the Libbers to fill out gaps and try and figure out they're a sneaky good team. They're not a team for 4-day series, but they can take some big names. And for me, as someone who look at similar to Western Province, right? Western Province's strength is their bowling. Wesley Betcher is going to come in. Can he hold off? Can he hold on? The question with Western Province, Tim, is your batting. You know, have they taken that step up? The youngsters, the John O'Birds, not Whitehead, but whoever, Jason Smith, not Jason Smith, Daniel Smith. Sorry.
Daniel Smith.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
those kids, have they taken that step up? Because Björn Hendricks is there, Wesley Bedge is there. You've got the tenants of a good side, Carl Simmons, George Linder. You've got a great bowling attack. It's what the batting looks like, and
Yes,
that's the question for Western Province. And then to round out with the other two teams, you've got Boland. I don't know what I'm going to get there. I think they're probably going to struggle. From a batting perspective and from a bowling perspective, they have not improved. And they even lost Keegan Peterson. So, yes, you've got Grant Rudolphson in. That helps. But what are we going to get from Gold Rush Boland? They don't have a pace attack. They've got a lot of spinners. And you're going to be asking a lot of thingy. What's the guy who came from the Tuskers?
Keith Dudgeon.
Dudgeon, yes. Asking a lot of him. And then what's the last team? Who did Boland? The Knights.
The Knights.
Youngsters all around. They won the 4-day series in Division 2 last year. So that's going to be quite interesting. The question is Dane Pete. We're playing test matches while we're doing this. Is Dane Pete going to be with the Proteas? Is he going to be released? That's a very big thing for them because he is an important cog in that wheel. Malusi Sibota, Aaron Pangiso, they don't give me much, but yeah, from a bowling perspective, I think that's going to be their biggest question. And obviously the youngsters in the batting and how they are able to bat for those 2 innings, it's a question of will they be able to step up? Because from that part of their game, they didn't actually improve much. They didn't add a lot of 4-day like players. So that's going to be quite an interesting thing for the Knights.
They're going to rely heavily on Dion Forrester, who is the next best big thing. He's going to be up.
Oh. Tim's frozen. Okay. He did say that he was going to freeze it actually, so yeah. Just a internet glitch there happening. Hopefully he'll come back soon. But yeah, so that's Division 1. And obviously looking at Division 2, as the teams go in there, the same old names. The Eastern Storm are going to be strong. Northern Cape's going to be very strong. The Tuskers are going to be quite strong at this level. I think they're the team to beat. The ACDC Tuskers are going to be the team to beat in Division 2 as we try and get Tim back as he slowly comes through. So, yes. And we're just talking Division 2 now.
Yes, okay. So, Division 2, who have I got? I've got the Easterns. Easterns, I was shy on them with the T20 competition. They cover all bases in this format.
Isn't that what we said last year? I'm hearing you. I'm just shocked.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I'm just shocked.
My picture's freezing a little bit.
Okay. No. Yeah.
I just think they've got everything, and they're playing in a positive manner. They're playing in a strong. They're playing as a team. Talking about the Lions, they are playing as a team, which they didn't do last season. They just cover all bases. They actually have everything that you need to be successful in the 4-day competition. Just a couple of things that, for me, a player to watch out for there is George van Heerden. We know about him. We know about him. It's under 19. He went to the All-African Cup this year. He was the only one that made any runs in that tournament for us. He was very, very good in a T20 competition. I think if he's given time, and if Godfrey Badgers can build an innings around him, they will be very competitive.
Yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. And I think the Badgers team is a sneaky team to watch. I see Easterns, I see Northern Cape Heat, I see the Tuskers. But then after that, I look at this Badgers team and I think they could do something. They could take some serious big teams out of it. And that's been the MO of that Southwestern District team in the first place. Anyway, they've never been good enough to be the best team in Division 2, but they've been good enough to beat the best teams in Division 2, which is a very different prospect, which is quite a different thing, all in all. But yeah, that's the 4-day series, and that's what we need to look out for this week. We've also got the test match that starts tomorrow in Chattogram. The Proteas are 4 wins away from a World Test Championship final. We need to win 5 of the last 6. We've already won 1. Win a second one in Chattogram, then you come home needing to win 3 out of 4, and that is going to be quite an intriguing prospect. Temba Bavuma is not available for this test match, which begs the question as to why he went there. But anyway, it was probably a fitness test situation, and they wanted to give him enough time. So Matthew Bretsky probably has another opportunity to right the wrongs of that duck and zero batting in the second innings, Tim. But what are your predictions for the next game? Do you think we'll change up the side?
I think we might get a change. He has kept his cards close to his chest strictly, but I think we're going to see Sen. I think Sen's going to play. They're going to want somebody to hold up an end, be economical, strangle the opposition, and allow Abada and company to get the wickets. And he will, in those conditions, probably contribute something with the bat as well. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if Sen gets a game. Just the last thing on. I think so. It could be for Britsky, but I think it's going to be for Dane Pete. If I'm honest, I think
because the third spinner is never used anywhere. You saw that with Bangladesh. I think Naeem wasn't used a lot. It was just Tajul and Mehdi, but yeah. So that's
just to add, our resident Bangladesh expert who we had before the series started has given me the forecast. The forecast is 5 days of sunshine. So that is good from our point of view because we don't want to have rained out games.
Yes, well, we're playing in Durban and PE against Sri Lanka. So, yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of drama when we come back into South Africa. But I think let's call it there, Tim, for the end of the show. Good luck to the Proteas men playing tomorrow in Chattogram. Will be interesting to see what the changes are. And then on top of that, good luck to the teams, the domestic teams playing in the 4-day series. We're interesting to see who puts their hands up for the next cycle of the World Test Championship, but possibly a World Test Championship final. Because that's what we're working towards, and that's the goal we could potentially get, which is also very scary because India got walloped by New Zealand, and we want to thank our New Zealanders for doing that for us. So, yeah, Test cricket has never been interesting like this point, and this was the point of the World Test Championship. The point was we wanted urgency, we wanted games that matter, and now there are games that really do matter across South Africa, Sri Lanka, Australia, and India, which is what we want. But outside of that, from myself and Tim, remember, Full Quarter Podcast. Follow us on X at Full Quarter Pod. Subscribe to the Full Quarter Podcast channel on YouTube and like as well. Please do. Also follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And please buy some coffee. Helps us keep going. Any contribution is appreciated. Outside of that, from myself, Mpho and Tim, it's goodbye and lesale kakahiso.